Congratulations on this new television series of yours, Rebel.
Thanks. I'm very excited about it. Thanks for meeting with me today.
Hey, not a problem. It must be really exciting to jump from one TV project like the Runaways to something like Rebel, which is very different in a lot of aspects.
Oh, yeah. It's really interesting. I hadn't really thought about the similarities or differences much beyond like I go to set and like one I have a dinosaur and one I have like a mom with a turbulent relationship with her child. Like it is very circumstantially different, but I was thinking about it recently and like I think actually in a lot of ways what they're trying to do and say aren't that different. Like they're both very much shows of like human beings in like extraordinary circumstances dealing with like real injustices in a way, one through like far more veiled metaphors and one like way more directly. But it is really interesting. I think I've been really lucky to be on two shows back to back that are very like people and justice driven.
Now, on a show like this, because from my understanding, Rebel was inspired by Erin Brockovich. Mm-hmm. However, this is not a legal drama. It's more of a family drama that where every character has its own flaws. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's an interesting hybrid. I don't know if it's been done before. Maybe it has. I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's like a really interesting hybrid where it's like I'm the angsty teenage daughter, but like I show up at court sometimes, and like another day we're in a hospital, and like but it's still about my mom, and yeah, it's very human, and I really like. Maybe it's like a new lens to see these sort of like genres in. It's interesting. I think it's like a cool little mix of everything.
Well, then go ahead and tell us more about your character because I've seen the premiere episode and your character has, how can you say, her own issues, but yet she tries to be that good daughter in her own way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Ziggy is a recovering drug addict. I think in the first episode she has 72 days clean, and so she's very much dealing with her recovery. She's like fresh out of rehab, but she's also very dedicated and passionate about what her mom is doing, and in a way is kind of the most like Rebel of all of Rebel's children. And I think she's really interesting because she's someone who's really sensitive and is internalizing all of this and is kind of going through this journey of learning how to like channel this productively and like be part of the change.
How do you like playing these type of characters, who are, like strong-willed and independent?
It's really fun. I mean, like, it's nice to be someone with agency, but also darkness and there's a lot to play with and a lot to do, I think is the thing. I am also of this like generation of people that kind of like, when I first started my career, I would get a lot more sort of, shallow one-dimensional characters. And luckily, as I've been able to grow my career, I just say no to those the second I read the breakdown. So I've like never really experienced the opposite. I'm just like, women are great,
I find the commonality that about your characters is that you're playing you played a teen in the Runaways and you're playing a teen again in Rebel. I guess that's a tribute to your youthfulness.
Thank you so much. I think it's the cheeks. I have some youthful collagen in here. Yeah. I mean, like I was a teenager when I started Runaways, so it's like part of me is like it doesn't feel that far away, and then I go on TikTok and I'm like, but it's like a safe distance from where I'm at right now. I do very much empathize with like today's teenager. I'm like kind of that Gen Z millennial cusp, so I think I like relate very much to this Gen Z mentality and like and the way they interact with the world. I like, if not identify with, admire.
So how do you prepare for a character like Ziggy, who's basically coming off sober and going to be facing I'm going to guess some teenage issues through the season?
Yeah, I mean, you saw it set up in the first episode, but I mean, when I first auditioned, from the audition to the screen test to the pilot, shooting it, or we were going to shoot it, then we got shut down. But that was like just a couple weeks, didn't have a lot of time to prep it. So it was very much about coming at it from a very like subjective standpoint of like, I've done my research, but like, what does this feel like to be here? And then as I got time, because we, locked down, we didn't shoot for about a year, I got to meet people and talk to people and get firsthand experiences. And I learned a lot from people I'm like very grateful to know. And yeah, that's the prep process. And it's ultimately like you take these people, like all the people's experiences that you're talking to, but you have to ultimately like make it personal and subjective. And so it's like, you hope you're doing justice to the subject matter and the people. And you try your best.
Well, you try to be the best as an independent, good daughter, helping out her mom.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the main character, Rebel herself. It's based on Erin Brockovich, and what a lot of people know about Erin Brockovich is that Erin Brockovich was a lawyer who goes out for justice causes, right?
She's not a lawyer, I think, which is kind of what's like so cool about her, is that she's like an everyday person who like recognized an injustice and took matter into her own hands, which is like the most admirable thing. I think it's why she's kind of become this like hero. That'd be so embarrassing if she was a lawyer and I just corrected you. And like
now I'm questioning myself on my own research, but
I like never trust words out of my mouth.
But in terms of Rebel, she's not a lawyer. The character Rebel is not a lawyer. Yeah. So, but she works with lawyers trying to push for justice.
Works in a law firm with her associate Julian Cruz, who is a lawyer, and she kind of brings him all these pro bono cases while he tries his best to keep up with her.
Now, I understand Erin Brockovich herself is a producer on this show.
Been on a lot of Zoom calls with Erin Brockovich.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I mean, like in the same room, not personally speaking, but yeah, it's like I always see her on the work Zoom calls, and I'm like, Erin Brockovich, cool, straighten up.
So what is she like in real life? Is she a pretty serious person, or is she like the character Rebel?
In my experience of her, very fun, very cool person. We haven't had a lot of time to talk one-on-one because of the COVID of it all. It's like the only time I saw her in person was in passing with masks and shields and everything on. But yeah, I think one of the great things about her and Katie and Krista and the whole show is that they have like an amazing sense of humor and also like tremendous will. And it's like these things that could feel so bleak and dire feel like hopeful and funny, but like it's sweet and sad, and you get the full range of human emotion in like an episode. And I think that's like the experience of being in their presence. They all kind of have the same energy that's like really, really inspiring to be around. It's like energizing. I don't know.
I did get that sense that there are a lot of humorous elements into this. It's not like a totally serious drama.
Yeah, and I think it's a beautiful way to write a show like this, because first of all, in my experience of human tragedy, I don't think anyone fully wants it to feel as bad as it does when it's happening. I think it's like a very human thing, and I can't speak for everyone, of course, but I think it's a very human thing to find the levity and the love and the good things in the darkest times. And like I think that's something the show does really well, because then it's also like it kind of catches you off guard also sometimes, where you're laughing one moment and then you're like, oh my god, wait, hang on, my heart just broke. And then it also gives you breaks in the middle of crying.
Absolutely. Now, in the case for the other characters, I have never seen this before, but Rebel has one of the most diverse families, because she was married three times or something like that, and all the children are of different races.
Yeah.
Could you talk more about that? I mean, such a diverse cast.
Yeah, I mean, it's like kind of it feels really special to me that like when you're watching the show, it feels organic, and it's I personally have not had the experience of reading the scripts or watching the table reads or watching scenes where I feel like, oh, this is so kind of forced. It feels like a real family, just like under very modern circumstances. And it kind of makes me feel like moving forward, other shows don't really have an excuse anymore. It's like, if we can have this family have every race under the sun, not really, but like, you know, it's like the show does a really good job of like naturally including so many different perspectives and people that I'm like, come on, everyone should be working towards that. I mean, I understand if it's not possible every time, but like, it's possible. It is possible.
Just to circle back around to your character Ziggy, from what I gathered, is Ziggy's technically not the biological daughter of Rebel.
Yes, she's adopted. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but you said it first, so.
Oh, I did say it first. You're right.
Yeah. I'm also like, you know, John Corbett and Katie Seagal's daughter. You can kind of guess.
Yeah. I'm sure there will be a more subjective presence of throughout the entire series. But can you give us a sort of like a preview of what we should expect down the road for the series for Rebel?
Yeah, I mean, Rebel as a series is, like I said, or like we've discussed, it's this family drama, medical drama, courtroom drama, that's also a comedy that tackles real social issues, the overarching plot being of like corporate greed and corruption, and in that explores like the human experience of it, and like not just the people that fight for justice, but like the experience, the like how-to manual guidebook of how to fight for justice, and like the sacrifice that takes and the toll that it takes, but also the like great victories and joy and love in that. And that's kind of been my experience of the show so far, and I hope that's other people's experience of the show.
You know what? I'm actually picking up all of those vibes when what I actually watch. So I think that's terrific.
Okay, good. It's reading. I love that. Yeah, it's wild that I have no idea. We're in such an echo chamber shooting it that I'm like, I really hope. I mean, I cry at table reads, so I hope that that's the experience of everyone else. It can only get better once. I haven't seen anything really except the first 2 episodes.
Okay, excellent. And of course I do have to mention Katie is basically, a lot of stuff is going to center around her character. How was it like working for her? Because she's just a fixture in the industry for such a long time.
She's amazing. She was at my screen test. I read with her all the scenes between us, and she's just a legend, and like both so talented and a force while also being so nurturing on set. She takes care of everyone. I like was sick one day, not with COVID, just feeling sick, but she was so kind in like helping me through it, even though it was a much harder scene for her to do. That I was like, Katie, what are you doing? You're so nice. She's just been like really, really instrumental in like my growth on the show as well. Yeah.
Great. Well, let me wrap it up with you, Ariela, with one more question. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we're speaking via virtually right now, and I would have loved to meet you. Actually, I met you once for the Runaways one time. It was a long time ago, but but in the case we're speaking virtually, and obviously, production for Rebel, was shut down, reopened up, and all this kind of stuff. How are you staying sane and creative during this entire time?
Barely. Honest answer. It's one of those things where it doesn't hit me until after the fact that I'm like, oh, I wasn't well then, and I need to address that. But I've been writing a lot, and it's become very much like leaning on close family and friends and my partner, and just it's love and art and all of the things that could keep one sane. I don't have any like special tip or trick. I should probably come up with one.
I guess we still have plenty of time to figure this one out, but hey, once again, congratulations for Rebel, and it's a pleasure speaking with you again.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. Next time.
Have a rest of your day.
All right. Bye.